Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's first event in our new series of Tech Bites. My name is Kate. I'm the Event and Partnership Manager for Manchester Digital. So it's a very warm welcome to you all. This is a new series of events that we've launched, and these sessions are kind of learning lunches, and we hope that you can all jump in, learn something new, take some new ideas back to your business and start implementing them as soon as possible. So that's the idea. For those of you who are new to Manchester Digital, if you don't know about us, we're a not-for-profit trade association for the digital and tech sector. So we champion and unite our digital communities in Greater Manchester. So if you'd like to know anything more about Manchester Digital or find out more about becoming a member, then just grab me after this. So just a few little housekeeping points today. So I think we're going to keep you on mute. Feel free to join on camera if you wish to. We're going to start the session with Distology and Refresh. And if you've got any questions, you can either keep them in your head or pop them on the chat, and we'll get to them at the end. So I hope that's okay. First up, I wanted to introduce the panel today, and I have got our little slide. The title of today's session is Building Employer Brand to Support Your Scaling Strategy. And as we all know, Manchester is a thriving tech hub. We're home to numerous global headquarters, tech unicorns, and hundreds of successful startups. We're renowned as a booming tech space. One of those companies that's really relishing in Manchester's booming tech scene is Distology, a successful scaling cybersecurity distributor, and the award-winning PR agency Refresh is supporting them at the moment with their scaling strategy. So we're going to hear from this lineup of ladies. These are the ladies on the panel today. So if everybody would like to say hello, we've got Laura and Lucy from Refresh and Chloe from Distology. Did you want to just say hello, ladies?
Sure. Hi, I'm Laura. I'm the MD of Refresh. Refresh started 13 years ago from my bedroom and it's grown into the agency it is today. So I do have experience of scaling, but probably not at the speed that you guys are scaling right now on the tech scene. But we do work with a lot of tech businesses in Manchester and beyond. Really, really exciting sector to be part of. So we really enjoy it.
Lovely. And Lucy?
Yeah, hi. So I'm Lucy. I'm an associate director at Refresh. I have been with the company for coming up to 4.5 years. I work in a dual role personally. So firstly, I oversee some of our agency's portfolio of clients, specifically along the tech side. So ensuring we're performing in line with objectives and on strategy and hitting kind of client KPIs and just generally delivering great campaigns for clients. But then secondly, and perhaps more relevant to today, I look after a lot of our agency's people function. So things like recruiting, culture, well-being, attracting and retaining talent, and just kind of making sure our employees are happy, getting the training and support they need to thrive and do a really good job in their role.
Lovely, super busy, Lucy. And Chloe.
Hello, hi. I'm head of people success at Distology. I've been there just over 12 months now. I'm seeing quite a change over the last 12 months. It's quite an exciting role to be in. I oversee all the people services and activities for the UK and Europe. And yeah, we're a cybersecurity software distributor, as you said. And it's my role really just to ensure that the employees are happy and successful and moving forward in their roles, because that's what makes the business go forward as well.
Lovely. Thanks for that, Chloe. So the format of today is we've got some questions for the panel that I'm going to pose to them. And I think this first one specifically is for Lucy. So how have you been helping scaling tech companies in the region build their brands following funding?
Sure. Okay, so where to start? So we've been helping tech scale ups in the Northwest region, but also further afield, to help build the brand since Refresh started really over a decade ago. Obviously, that includes the brilliant Distology, who are here on the panel with us today. And we've been working with the business over there for just over a year now. So usually I'd say 9 times out of 10, we tend to come in when the business has gone through the kind of early startup phase. So that stage where businesses are usually very focused on perfecting the product, service and getting it to market. And that really is the laser focus. So I think at that early stage, it can be often a little bit too early to start PR, as you know, many companies are often still trying to figure out where the brands kind of stand in the market, how they want to position themselves in the long term. So yeah, at that very early stage, it can often be a little bit too early for the kind of PR role. But fast forward a few years, kind of usually after they've gone through that Series A funding and they're trying to maybe position themselves for Series B, tends to be where we come in. So we find at that stage, companies tend to know or have been, you know, maybe told by an investor or someone that's been through the journey before that they need to do PR, marketing, but often kind of people aren't sure where to start. So for us, it's kind of about taking them on that journey and demonstrating how kind of a strong brand, PR, marketing strategy can help them to really achieve the next goals. So whether that's, you know, to increase the sales, the lead generation, to help them break into new markets, launch more products to different markets, secure further funding, or, you know, even positioning them for an eventual exit if that is in the game plan. So we've worked with companies over the past few years doing all of the above, but interestingly, and I think most relevant to today, over the past sort of 2 or 3 years, due to, you know, talent shortages and that huge competition for employees, I think we're all feeling that right now. We've been getting an increasing number of requests from kind of current and new clients to help really specifically build what we'd call their employer brands, which is why we're all here today. So I think the kind of term employer brand can be very wide reaching with lots of different definitions and lots of things that could fall into that. But for us, it's really helping those businesses shape and share their employee value proposition, as well as just in general positioning them as a great place to work. So people are kind of seeing and thinking, I really want to work there, you know, I really want to apply there. So yeah, really ensuring these businesses can strengthen the talent pipeline as much as possible, which I know is really, really difficult at the moment. So yeah, we've gone from, as a business, having probably 95% of clients coming to us looking to build the corporate brand more generally, to having probably now about 1 in 3 inquiries we get coming to us specifically wanting to use PR to help with the employer brand to attract talent, and that really been the main focus, which yeah takes us on, I think, really nicely to what we'll discuss on this webinar. And I'm looking forward to getting some kind of insight specifically from Chloe and Distology around how you guys are doing it in practice. So I hope that covers that first one, Kate.
Yeah, lovely, thank you. So I think well, it's perhaps a question for you all, but perhaps again specifically for you, Lucy and Laura. So when it comes to building employer brand, how does this differ from building general brand awareness? So what does a successful employer brand strategy look like?
I'll start this, Lucy, if that's all right. So brand awareness is very much about shouting about your company. So you want to get in front of as many people with the right messages as possible. So you could be talking about everything from what you're passionate about as a company through to company successes such as contract wins, case studies. Employer brand is all of that, plus looking more kind of internally at your values and focusing on what you're doing as a business, specifically to support your team. How are you making them the best that they can be? How are you offering them, you know, kind of, I guess, what they are looking for? So the employer brand strategy really tells your story as a company and promotes your values as a business. And I think if done well, it helps somebody understand straight away whether they're going to want to come and work for you or not. They will understand very clearly what you stand for, you know, and what you don't stand for. And it makes their decision a bit easier. And I guess in terms of a successful strategy and what that looks like, for me, that would be similar to any other strategy out there. So it's about planning your objectives and what you're looking to get from this, and then planning your route forward, looking at how you build your tactics on that. And I think most importantly of all, how you measure it. I would, if you've got marketing and HR teams, I would combine the marketing and HR teams on it. But what I would say is that it's not critical to be the most creative company out there and have the most amazing standout award-winning ideas. I think the important thing is that you're communicating who you are and what you stand for, because that will resonate with candidates out there who do think the same, and ultimately that's going to attract people in who you want to attract in. And it's going to keep the people as well who you want to keep, who share those values with you and who are going to go on that journey with you and you know, add something that's not already there at the moment and ultimately make the company better than it already is.
I think that's really interesting, Laura. I think that the key word there is about retention, isn't it, as well as attraction in this market, definitely.
Absolutely.
And Lucy, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think you're completely right. For me, any strong employer brand strategy starts with your current people. If your current people are happy, engaged, thriving, then you're never going to get and attract new people to be coming in with those values and to kind of have that mindset. So for me, yeah, start with your current people. I was reading some new data from advisory firm Gallup yesterday saying businesses with engaged workers have, I think, 23% higher profit compared to businesses with workers who say they're miserable. And yeah, teams with thriving workers see significantly lower absenteeism, turnover and accidents, but also higher customer loyalty. So I think it's something that doesn't just impact kind of your current employees, it's the whole business that this comes across, kind of keeping your employees engaged, happy, and kind of appreciate that we can't just magic candidates up out of thin air at the moment, but I think having that strong employer brand really ensures that when a candidate is there and they're choosing between your business and 5, 6, 7, 10 other companies, you're really kind of front of the running there because you've done the background work on it for when the candidate kind of come along.
Yeah, no, that's great. All really important stuff. Let's move on to, I think, really from more of a perspective for Chloe, really. So Distology is currently scaling at a fast pace following the North Edge investment last year. We know Manchester is rapidly becoming a crowded market. With this in mind, how are you working to attract and retain talent?
That's a difficult question. I think, you know,
big secret.
I think everybody is struggling with recruitment and retention in some form or another at the moment. It's just the way that it is, you know, and we've kind of accepted that it's not going to return to as we knew it many years ago now. I think the key things for us, and I'm working very closely initially with our marketing team, was we brought in an ATS, an applicant tracking system last year to help with our job board promotions and things like that. And we've always found LinkedIn to be a very good and successful process. And we've been humanizing a lot of the social media we've been using and introducing people within the business and showing what we're doing, as well as promoting what we're doing with our vendors and partners and so on. But that's been one of the main successes for our recruitment attraction. But what we have done is we've created a career website. And one thing I'd say is it doesn't have to be the best, the most polished, completely finished, as long as you've got something out there. And we've been working with our content creator within Distology, and we've put something out. It's not finished, it's got more things to go on, it's going to grow and it's going to develop, but it's out there to attract people, and we're getting some great traction through that. As I say, we're promoting all our vacancies across, you know, LinkedIn, the job boards, with additional advertising. But one thing that is apparent once you get 2 or 3 weeks down the line, you constantly need to refresh that advert, because it will, it drops off. There's that many jobs out there. You need to keep sure you refresh and you're keeping everything new. Play around with job titles. Just because you've got a specific job title on your advert doesn't mean you're going to reach out to the right areas and the right people. So it's sometimes that's something you can play around with. Ensuring that there's no barriers within your job ads as well. If you've got something in there, make sure it has to be in there, not just because you feel like you need to have it. Do you really need it? Ensure the recruitment process isn't lengthy, and make sure we do an initial chat with everybody rather than making them do a first stage interview. We have a chat because we recruit very much against our values, and our culture is very important to us, and more important almost at times than what's on the job spec, because we can train people, we can't instill what their culture and their values are, which is very key to the business. We spoke about, with everybody within the business is the face of us and who we are. So we have an internal referral program, and that's really successful because people do talk about us and say, come and work here. We've had quite a few referrals, particularly over the last 6 months, of people who want to come and join the business. I would always say, make sure you're benchmarking your offering out there in the marketplace. I know there's a lot of inflated offers going around at the moment. That doesn't necessarily make business sense or is fair in the rest of your team that you've got employed, to make sure that it is a fair and benchmarked process. And communicate what you're doing within your business. Let everybody know what vacancies there are, what you're recruiting for. Keep your team involved, keep listening to them. Make sure you've got the right development and training so people don't come in and it's not what they expect. Be open and honest. And get involved with things that are like this. We're involved with the Greater Manchester Good Employment Charter. We're involved with, because we're based in Stockport Council, Stockport Jobs. We're involved in careers fairs. We speak to colleges and schools and universities about what we're doing, how we're trying to get people into tech who don't necessarily think about a career in tech. And we always make sure we recruit on our 5 main values. Yeah, I think that's a good place to go.
I'm very pleased, of course, that you mentioned us as well, because I think it is really important to have those associations and synergy with sort of obviously we would say, but credible partners within the sector. Obviously we have a jobs board, and we share lots of content, and it's great to have you as an active member in membership. But this is all great tips. I was quickly taking notes, and I'm sure that everybody else is. But we will be sharing takeaways and things after this, just in case you haven't got your notepad available. So I think it would just be nice to hear from you all, really. So that we can all kind of go away with a couple of tips of what we could implement. So if you're happy to, please share.
Yeah, I can start if that's okay. So the first thing for me, and from I guess a more strategic perspective, is really just make the time for this. So treat your employer brand strategy as important as any other elements of your brand strategy and your business strategy. So to do that, you could look at creating an internal kind of dedicated employer branding team to really ensure there's that accountability, and report on it like it was any other strategic work stream within your business. And I think within that, set actionable goals. So where do we want to be in 1, 3, 6, 12 months time with this? Could be as simple as get 25% more relevant applications than we have been doing for these set job posts, or ensure our current team are fully bought into our vision and goals and know what we're all working towards, or even something like, get shortlisted for 5+ industry awards this year. We find a bit more on the tactical element, but we find industry awards really, really helpful from an employer brand perspective. And when you're going in for awards, you don't even necessarily have to think, yes, I'm going to win that category. Go for the shortlists, because if you get your name, you know, across 5, 6, 7, 8 shortlists, it's that continued reinforcement of your brand, and you know, people ultimately want to work for winning, successful teams. And then I think secondly, from a more tactical perspective, as I mentioned earlier, and I truly believe this, is that your current people really are your biggest advocates. So I'd personally start there. So really engage them and use them as your company champions. In terms of how to do that in practice, so obviously just starting with, in general, treating them well, ensuring that they feel heard, seen, properly rewarded. Get them directly involved in the company's mission and vision so that everyone's bought in and they know exactly where the company's going and what the timeframes look like on that. Get them involved in regular meetings in the progress of the company, where you're tracking that against these goals, objectives. So I think that internal comms piece is really, really important to have engaged employees. And also, again, this depends, I guess, on the business size, but let them know, if possible, how they personally can make an impact on the company and the growth of the company. So most people don't just want to be a cog in a wheel, they want to know how they can impact that company. And then things like rewarding great work, celebrating successes. So we do a lot of what we'd call kind of surprise and delight desk drops, where we leave packages on employees' desks just to say thank you, celebrate different points of the year. They go down really well. And then as well, just actively asking employees to get involved in your employer brand campaign. So, you know, sharing great news across socials, company news, but also the personal opinions on things and what they see as trends in your sector, to really start positioning them as almost figureheads for the company. And then I think finally, within that more kind of tactical element, you know, things like sending employees into your local universities and organisations like Manchester Digital to talk with students, professionals, people that might, you know, be looking to switch careers, get into a career in tech, about, you know, how to do that. You know, it's great for the development of a team member going in and doing that, but also it means that when people are looking to change jobs or careers, or when they finish uni, you know, you're kind of front of mind for them. So I feel like I've gone beyond 2 top tips. Sorry about that.
They were all really amazing. I think there was some great stuff. There was some great stuff there. Thank you. I think there's loads. I mean, you know, I think if we were to all go away and try to implement, you know, just 1 or 2 of those, I think, you know, we've been making some great strides, really. So thank you so much for that. Do Laura and Chloe want to add to those tips at all?
I just add, for me, it's very much about walking the walk. So stay true to who you are. And I think it's quite easy to be kind of swayed by something you see the competition doing, you know, that looks great, you know, they're doing it better than us, but what they do will appeal to a certain type of person. Your company will appeal to a certain type of person as well. So I think what you do internally has to match up with what you say externally. You can't be saying one thing and then an employee arrives and gets a different experience, particularly with the Gen Zers coming up, who, for me, I've seen a massive difference in Gen Z to any other generation that's previously come forward for interviews. So I think that transparency really is key, and know your company identity. And what I would say is, if you are a bit unsure about that and it's quite difficult to take a few days out just to kind of plan and think, it's the hardest thing is doing it for yourself and planning your own campaign. So there are resources out there from Business Growth Hub. We had Growth Accelerator back in the day come in and just spend a day with us. And we ended up actually taking a HR consultant on to help us develop our values as a business, which we then have moved through job descriptions and through appraisals. So the team is half appraised now on actually the skills and how they do the job, but also the values and how they employ those values in what they do. So the values are as important to us as the skills. So just make sure what you're doing internally is what you say externally. And I think, yeah, go externally for help if you need to plan that. And then what I would say is, if you're not sure whether it's working or not, ask people. I think people who, you know, the people that will tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. So go to those people and ask them what they think, and take the feedback on board. You know, I've had a lot of quite honest criticism, I guess, positive criticism over the years, and you know, it's that you learn from. So ask people.
Again, some amazing tips there. Thanks, Chloe. Have we got anything else to add?
No, I'd just emulate what everybody else has said. You know, I mean, for us, we work very close with our marketing team, and that was fantastic because it had a very different viewpoint than like the people team. So when it came together, it was more powerful. And make sure that the communication to the team, make sure everybody's involved and everybody understands what your brand is. And make sure it just emulates completely through the business. It's not just something that's seen externally. Make sure you use it internally and use it well. I mean, we always award against our values. Everything we do is against our values. So as you can see, it's on the wall behind me as well.
Well, I mean, it's all great stuff, Chloe, and I think it is really lovely to hear. And I think, you know, the idea of you know, walking the walk is so important. I mean, obviously at Manchester Digital, we speak to hundreds of brands, and it, you know, I was chatting to a business a while ago. We were doing a feature on D&I. You know, we wanted some input from businesses about kind of, you know, what they're doing, what strides they're making to, you know, increase diversity amongst their teams. And I just love the fact one of our members said, do you know what, Kate, I'm not going to talk about it, because until I feel my team are on board with it, it's just sort of hot smoke, really. I don't want to just, you know, they need to really kind of be believing it before we start talking it up to other people. And I think that was, you know, just was brilliant feedback, really, because I think ultimately that's where all teams need to be at, that you're living and breathing those values first before we kind of, you know, talk them up. Which is, you know, super important as part of that strategy for employer brand, isn't it? So great stuff. So have we got any questions? I feel so let's have a look. I don't know, Miles, please do shout up. I know you're there somewhere. So let's have a look here. So how do you influence your marketing team to support the TA HR team in an overworked environment? So I suppose that's one for Laura and Lucy, really. So how do you engage a marketing team to support the talent team in a very kind of busy business?
I mean, I think it goes back to what Lucy was saying in terms of making sure you make time for this and making it a priority. It's so easy to drop your own employer brands, and it's the one thing that we always, you know, month after month, we have to force ourselves to make time to do it, otherwise we don't. So I think it's just a case of being organised, and you put those meetings in the diary and make sure they happen, and you know, you come out with manageable actions that are then reported back on. I honestly think, I don't know how I'd advise it more than that. I mean, obviously if it's kind of month after month after month, being busy and overworked, that's kind of, I guess, another issue for the business. But for me, it's just about making time for it and making sure it's a priority.
Yeah. And, you know, we all know, you know, that, you know, everybody's short of time, but I think when it's something as important as this, you know, it just needs to be part of those, you know, overall business objectives, doesn't it? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're in an agency where at the end of the day, your income comes from your clients, it can be quite hard to allocate days worth of time away from that. But it's crucial.
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, it's fair to say that, you know, it's an incredibly competitive market at the moment, isn't it? I mean, obviously we're at the kind of coalface with all of our members, and we know that, you know, everybody's, you know, kind of fighting over the same talent from our perspective, you know, we would be sort of banging the drum saying everybody needs to invest in, you know, that early talent if you can, because you know, we can't continue to fish from the same pool. Everybody needs to make that investment. But you know, if we can't continue to compete on salaries, we need to look at that wider offering, don't we? And you know, as you said, Chloe, those values of a business are so important. You know, and we also see that with businesses that churn staff, you know, because perhaps those candidates really haven't been aligned to those business values. So you know, as we said, to attract and then retain and have your people talk your business up on a regular basis is just so incredibly important. So is there anybody else who would like to add anything before we wrap up?
I think just on that marketing team, for me, we work really well with our team, and they are very busy as we all are at the moment. But I think for them, it was to understand how it would make a difference, and it would make a difference to them in the end as well, because we were recruiting into their team as well. So for them to understand the benefit of working together.
Hi,
Yeah.
could I ask a question, please? I was just wondering, we're looking to scale up our presence in Manchester, and I was just going to ask, is there a trend that you see with regards to people coming back to the office and working from home versus teleworking and working from the office? And is that a deal breaker you're seeing in recruitment, that flexibility? And just wondering if you could give any insight there, please.
For us, we've got a fantastic office environment, so a lot of people enjoy being in the office. They feel like they learn, they collaborate better. All our teams work just in a happier way. We do have more of a hybrid working approach, where we do almost what you call a split week for us, so 2-3 days from home or 2-3 days in the office. Everybody seems to enjoy that working approach, and something that they've communicated that they want. We try and listen the best we can to our teams, and if we're going to kind of accommodate something, then we will do. We've only got a couple of remote workers, and that's not been us actually dictating that in a way, and that's been more of just how it's progressed as a business. But generally, everybody's in the office because they want to be.
Yeah, and I think for us, we're in the city centre. The city centre is a really exciting place to be. So the place that we're seeing the most demand for working from home from is the new grads coming through, which really surprised me, because I thought they'd want to be in the office, learning, developing, you know, learning off people with the experience, hearing the conversations. But when we're in interviews, they're the ones that are wanting to work at home more than anyone else, which I'm not going to lie, can be quite difficult to support when they don't yet know the job. So I think it helps being in the city centre, because that's a bit of a pull and a bit of attraction. There's a lot going on every day of the week. But yeah, again, very much like Distology, you know, we try and make our offices as exciting as possible to be in and give people every reason to come in, while also having that hybrid working. But yeah, the demand is from the young ones, not from the older ones.
Yeah, that's
strange. You would have thought it's the other way around. You know, once you get a taste of working back from home again, don't want to head back to the office. But no, that's really good. That's good information.
I would just add to that. I mean, obviously, from our perspective, you know, we do work with lots of companies. There are certainly, you know, roles that we see that that are, you know, that are asking for that flexibility. You know, those tech roles, you know, specifically. I think what we have to remember really is that everybody is different and one size just doesn't fit all. So, you know, I think for businesses in a very difficult market like it is at the moment to recruit, that to have flexibility is obviously going to be an advantage. I think if people are prescriptive and say, no, it's just office based, or no, you know, you're completely remote, then I think you're going to restrict your pool of candidates. You know, we deal with lots of businesses, you know, like Refresh was saying, you know, early talent needs support, certainly. You know, and I think, you know, if you're short of a dev and they only want, you know, to be working remotely, then, you know, I guess that's going to have to, you know, work in line with the business. But yeah, I'd certainly say that being open-minded is the best approach.
Thank you.
Well, I hope that's helpful. It was just to kind of finish up and let you know that Lucy has kindly put her email address on here if anybody would like to pick up and hasn't managed to ask a question today. So please do, you know, follow us all on social. You can come back to me directly or to Lucy with any specific questions. Just wanted to thank everybody for joining us today. Just in summary, we will be sending out a few takeaways from today. So expect those on email. And just to let you know, from a Manchester digital perspective, we've got loads of events going on at the moment. On Thursday, we're doing an event with Rachel Sang, who is the Deputy Director for Digital Identity for the government. So that's happening on Thursday morning in person at our offices at the Tech Incubator in Manchester. We've also got a role model meetup. So we do lots of work inspiring girls into digital and tech roles. So we have a team of formidable women who inspire those girls and work together to produce resources for girls at school and college age. So you're very welcome if you're curious at all about becoming a role model or mentor for girls, then you come along to that. It's on the 21st of June. And for those in membership, we've got our members conference on the 30th of June. It's all about technology, innovation and a responsible future. So lots of presentations on diversity, sustainability and emerging tech. So if you want to know about any of those, details are on the website. If you want to know about membership, give me a shout. But I just want to say a big thank you to our speakers today. Thank you very much to Laura and Lucy from Refresh and to Chloe from Distology. It's been a real pleasure and I hope everybody's found it really useful.
Thanks, Kate. And I've just noticed there's a couple of questions in the chat box we didn't quite have time to cover off. So we're going to be doing kind of a follow-up blog and things. So we'll try our hardest to answer some of those questions that we didn't manage to get around with in a follow-up. But yeah, any questions, anything anyone wants to chat through, just drop me a line. Always happy to chat.
That's very kind. We'll see you all soon. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.